don't know already. He's a family physician in Rancho Penasquitos. He's an incredible husband and father to a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. He grew up in Irvine, Orange County. He attended public schools. He has 3 degrees from UC San Diego in political science, clinical research, and medicine. He's a very, very qualified person. And I could just go on and on, but I think you're all here to hear him speak, not me, right? So let's all give him a warm welcome.
Good morning, everybody. And it just really, really warms my heart to see people from all the different facets of my life here today. We have an incredible showing from the City Heights clinical team and patients. I see people from Chinmay Mission, from other Hindu cultural and Indian cultural organizations. There's a great showing from the school board and the school communities. And then, of course, we have also a showing from the community specifically within Trustee Area A, including folks who've come out from Del Sur, from Park Village, from Torrey Hills, from all those areas that we will need to vote for us to win in November. So thank you all for being here. It really means a lot to me. I want to start by telling you a story of my time in 6th grade. So as Katie mentioned, I grew up in Irvine, California, attending public schools. And it was a very similar district to Poway Unified. A lot of high achievers, a lot of emphasis on success. In 6th grade, we had a couple of teachers at the public elementary school who seemed to have a slightly different agenda from what is expected at a public institution. They had some religious focus and a religious bent to the work they did. And so this culminated in a presentation by one of the teachers kind of describing some of his missionary work. And I remember it's very vividly, he gave a presentation with the old school slide projectors. You know, you guys know what I'm talking about, where they're like on a thing that's round, right? And you click, and then it goes like, and then like the next image kind of, good. Okay. So I'm not that young, by the way, so I remember those, right? And so he gave this old school slide projector presentation, and it was just full of cringeworthy moments. I mean, all kinds of, pictures of India depicted as if it was a dirty place, talking about things like, oh, India is a poor country, but it's still a beautiful country. He said, he had a picture of a bamboo ladder and said, oh, I wonder why, it sounds like they don't have Home Depots there. I mean, it was stuff that was just horrible, right? And even as 6th graders, we knew, right, that something was not right in how he was talking about the country of our parents, of our forefathers. So of course, slowly, and it was a handful of Indian kids in the class, maybe 4 or 5, we eventually went back and told our parents. And it was the mothers, of course, that got incensed and that organized. So Melinda's nodding her head. She knows what I'm talking about, right? And so the mothers got together. They actually got their hands somehow on the slide presentation. And it was again given, I think this was at my house. My mom's here, so she can tell me.
Yeah.
Where? It was at our house, right?
Yeah, we met at few people's houses, yeah.
Okay, so there were a number of different organizing meetings that happened, and the presentation was done again. And increasingly, the mothers got more and more upset and said, okay, we have to do something, we have to organize. So they went to the school. They actually were given the go-ahead to give a sort of counter presentation that presented India in the honest and real light that they knew it from their own experience. And then that group went on to be a focal point of organizing that brought in people of different nationalities, of different ethnicities, to make the school a better place. And that for me was really my earliest memory of what it's like to be an advocate, to be a community organizer. And it really set the seed for what I want to do as a school board member. Now, eventually I graduated from Irvine Public Schools, as Katie mentioned, went to UC San Diego, and that was sort of where I fell in love with San Diego and the greater community. And another pivotal moment happened during medical school. Hi, Caitlin. When I came under the wing of a anesthesiology professor and political advocate named Dr. Bob Hertzka. Now, a few of you here will know Bob. I'm seeing Sid nod his head. I'm not surprised at all. Darshana has met him. So Bob is the craziest political junkie. This guy has been in the game for like 40 years. Very interesting person. He probably has 12 senators on speed dial, US senators. And his whole thing was mentoring medical students to understand how to advocate better for their profession. So it was through Bob's course that I attended a number of events in Sacramento, spent 2 weeks actually working on a paid sick leave bill with Lorna Gonzalez that eventually passed and provided paid sick leave for workers across California. That for me was a very important moment where I said, if I put in the time and make the effort to connect with these policymakers, I can actually drive changes that serve our communities and make life better for everyone. And when I realized that, the political bug, it just got me. And I said, okay, I'm gonna do everything I can to continue on my path of medicine, but also to become this advocate that I know our communities can need and benefit from. And so eventually we moved back here to San Diego to this beautiful community of Rancho Penasquitos in Park Village. And I saw this opportunity come up to potentially run for school board. And so I started doing the groundwork. This was almost 2 years ago now, attending every single school board meeting that I was available for. And now I've attended about 15 of the school board meetings. Meeting with community members to understand, what is the experience like? What is it like for families that are young, like my family, but also families that have older kids? And we were just talking about that today. What are the needs for the special education community? How can we better serve our communities? And I also started meeting the integral people within the district. So sat down with superintendent, assistant superintendents, sat down and had coffee with every single one of this current board members, and really started learning about the position. And I became convinced that this was an area in which I could really have that impact as an advocate and really serve our communities. And so in terms of what I'd like to do on the board, there are a number of different policy issues. Exactly as Darshana said, this campaign is very much evolving. So anything you say to me about your experience in PUSD in the larger school community, I want to integrate that and make it part of our policy goals and objectives. I am really focused on a couple of key issues. One of these is making sure that we hire a new superintendent. The superintendent really helps run the day-to-day operations of the district. And I want that to be someone who has experience running a large school district. I'm particularly interested in serving marginalized communities, so someone who's actually given outcomes, serving those sorts of similar communities. And of course, someone of a really strong moral character who interacts in a kind and professional way, also with the look to be loving towards staff, towards students, because that's something that I personally also have a great value for. Other areas of interest for me in the campaign include particularly mental health. As a number of our speakers, as Khadar so beautifully spoke to, he sees this every single day in his work as a counselor. And I've heard this guy talk about how he does counseling for students, and he is a miracle, just amazing. So I think we really need to put resources into our district to hire more people like him, to make sure that kids know that counselors do exist at a lot of the schools and how to take care and how to actually engage with those services. So for me, mental health is a big focus, and I'm hoping to learn more about how we can do a better job as a PUSD community. And I would say a third area of focus for our campaign is our wonderful teachers and staff. I really believe that we need to, pay competitive wages and competitive benefits so that we can recruit and retain the best people. Across San Diego County, as Khadar had also said, everyone knows Poway Unified. We are really an outstanding district, and we need to try to keep it that way. I want to just take a moment also now to talk about Darshana. I don't feel like I've actually ever thanked her properly for everything she's done, and she's looking down at the ground because she's uncomfortable with praise, which I still don't understand. But Darshana really took me under her wing. I think she saw something in me from the earliest moments we met. I actually met her via one of my research mentors from Irvine. So her name is Kathleen Trustee. And Kathleen Trustee is now on Irvine City Council, and she had mentored me when I was a middle schooler trying to do science fair projects in ecology and evolutionary biology. Kathleen eventually realized that there was work to be done for scientists in the policy realm, so she ran and shortly connected me to Tiffany Boyd Hodgson, who's now on a water district, Vallecitas Water District, who connected me to Darshana. So I feel like this trail of women scientists is sort of how I got to you. And Darshana, I really feel is like the greatest guru in all the ways. So what do I mean by that? So what are the qualifications of a good guru, of a good teacher, right? So one is that this person should not be looking to get a personal gain or personal advantage, right? They should really be in it to serve the student. And I've never felt with Darshana that she's ever trying to get any personal gain. Pratibha is agreeing with me as well, Pratibha ji, right? She is really in this for the right reasons. And she mentors me, and I may be one of her more prominent students, but there are at least 24 other people, Melinda and I were talking about this recently, that have benefited, that continue to benefit from her mentorship. So she's in it for the right reasons. She is what we call a Shrotriya in the Hindu tradition, but she's a subject matter expert. This lady knows her stuff. I'm routinely just flabbergasted at how deep and broad her knowledge is of school policy and of other policy areas as well. So she knows what she's doing. She's good at imparting her knowledge, right? It's fine to be an expert, and Shayla and Adrian and I were just talking about this, right? About how professors should be good teachers. And Darshana has that ability. She's able to really speak in such a way that what she's trying to teach is understood and is grasped. And if it's not understood, she gives the clarification that's necessary. And then, so we talked about 3 aspects. There's a final aspect that'll come to me in a second. She makes time. So this is another key. You can have a guru who is a good teacher, who knows the material, but if they're never available, there's no point. She will make that time for that quick call during her drives and just give that quick piece of advice. So I'm really grateful to you, and thank you so much. Really. This is probably the first of like 4 events that she's attending today, by the way. So I'm really grateful that she's here. I want to just kind of close by talking a bit about the state of the race. So I think that Darshana kind of talked about it. I do have one opponent. It's competitive. So please get involved. Please sign up on the canvassing list. If you wrote your name, email, and phone number there, I will personally be reaching out to you. We have to basically secure 15,000 votes to win this, give or take. My goal is to get even more. If we win with 80% of the votes, I'm happy with that. We're basically going for 100, so I don't care what your political party is. It doesn't matter to me, what your preconceived notions are about a doctor or a Democrat running, whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is, I think we have a lot to contribute. And really, school boards should be nonpartisan spaces, right? These should be places where we're not arguing the way that Congress argues and fighting each other. We should be working on doing what's best for the community. And so I really look forward to having your help and support. If you can donate as well, we have links here. The fundraising and the money really goes to mailers and yard signs. And mailers have been proven, this is one of the pieces that Darshana taught me, that they're actually one of the most effective ways to do outreach. They actually can change votes, change ideas, and get you that brand recognition that eventually wins the race. So I just want to say thank you again to all of you. I almost feel like I need to name all of you by name, so I'm just going to generally state thank you to everyone who manned this table here. I really appreciate the check-in table. Thank you to everyone who brought food, and there is, I think, still coffee, snacks. Is that right, Timothy? Yes. So there's still coffee, snacks available, so please go and take as much as you'd like. And probably the last person I'm just going to quickly mention, last few people I mentioned by name, Gracie Duran is here. She's the director at my clinic at City Heights where I work. Gracie has really seen me grow through these last few years, and she will attest to that, right? And I think that's one thing that I think is important to know is that I'm not by any means perfect in any of these realms, but I'm willing to grow, and people like her have really helped shape me through that process. So thank you, Gracie, for being here. She has stories. So you can find her for stories later. And then I really should thank also my wife, Dr. Usha Rao, who is currently there holding Dhani, our daughter. Usha, of course, has been a bedrock. She took this speech and ripped it apart 2 days ago because it was really bad. And then helped me rework it, so thank you. And then I also want to thank specifically my family that's here today. My mom is there filming with the camera, and she was there in that initial organizing group back in the 6th grade days. So she's a real community advocate. I want to thank my brother, Mahesh, who's holding the camera right there. He came down from LA. And then my in-laws, Nanda Subbarao and Shashidhar Rao, who have been, again, an integral part of our team. So thank you. Okay. Great. And then there's one more person I was going to mention. Okay, it'll come to me in a second. But, oh yes, and then the school board trustees that are here, because you need to have that institutional support and that knowledge to win this kind of a race. And so, of course, Darshana spoke. She's currently on the Poway School Board. Heather Plotsky is here right now. So thank you, Heather. And Michelle O'Connor as well, who's the current board president. So I appreciate all of you. I'm so grateful that you took time out on this Saturday morning to be here. It just warms my heart, and it makes me feel good, like we can win this. So I'm really grateful to all of you. Please take time to mingle, to get to know each other. Come find me, let's talk, and onward to victory in November. Thank you.
go.
Okay, so we're gonna take a photo. What's the best background for this photo? What do you guys think?